again, and it didn't go live by itself. But I'm here, and I hope you are too. So I'm going to put the camera back up where it belongs, and we'll get started. I was hoping to avoid that. Now, I have this completely. Well, I have this. I did. There it is. Completely set up and ready to go. But as has been my life lately, didn't work out. No big deal, we're here. We are going to finish the piece that we started yesterday. And by finish, I mean we're going to put in the little accents and the final touches so that it has more of a finished look like this one. And I apologize, but I can't bring my thing down any further, which means I haven't found the correct camera and light yet, but I will. In the meantime, this will do. But if you see these little accents, like the little lines here, the dots, the lines, the dots here, etc., the black and white marks, the lines that I put here, marks, spirals, that type of thing, that's what we're going to add. I still have to add them to this one, you know, but we are going to, together, because we painted this together, we're going to add those little dots to here. I've already got some in. I put those in yesterday just to test something, and this one here was to show that you could also use markers. These little dots are acrylic paint pens. This was, I dropped water on my painting. I never do stuff like that, okay? But I did, and there was this big blob, and it was gonna mark it, okay? So I decided, well, if you're going to, I'm gonna make use of that. So I sucked all the water out, and when you do that, you lift the paint off. Not all paints will lift as well as this one did. It depends on the paint, the color, the brand, etc. But this one lifted pretty good, so I got a light pink. So I just put a few more in there and gave myself a little texture. So we've got a head start on this today. Now, if you've got yours ready, and I hope you do, we're ready to go. So, oops. And that's what you have to watch out for. I just splattered this all over here. But it's ready to go, this pen. So, and I have to be really careful. And by the way, yes, I have two different nail designs on my fingers because this one, and that one will not come off. And I hurt my finger trying to get this one off, so I'm done with that today. Now, where do I want to put this? Okay, I am, let me think about this because I wanted to leave some white areas. And I think, darn it. See, I've got a problem here in that I got some water outside the line and it bled out. It might not have been a problem had it been another color, but blues tend to have pretty good saturation and they will stain. So I'm not even going to bother taking that out. But if I put the color there and I put a color here or here, see, the problem is the balance isn't there that I like. So I'm kind of, and I also want to put in my black and white lines. I love these. This is kind of part of this whole series. So I want to add it in. And I think I'm going to use this to do that. I don't need two of these, to be honest with you. I mean, two spots. I really could do just one. So, I think this one's going to stay open. And that means that this one. And normally I'd paint it, but I've got this pen out, so I'm going to use this pen to fill this in. And I need to be very careful because I don't want to have to draw my black, waterproof black ink pen over the acrylic paint pen. You can, but it's not easy. And if I take a little care here, I won't have an issue. You notice what I did there? These pens, not all of these do that. This pen here, this brand, feeds the ink like a marker does. And so does this brand here. Now, this has got one color here and one color here. Don't care for that particularly, but it does double up your colors. But it also cuts your ink supply in half, or your paint supply. But these pens have to kind of be fed. And that means to prime them, you usually have to shake them and then pump to get the paint flowing down through that nib. It's kind of a, I'm not too sure what the material is. I think they say it on the box, but I'm going to say it's sort of like a polymer. And they do hold their points better than the old paint nibs. If you've been around for a while, you'll know that felt tip markers used to have the worst tips. Okay? And they would just get destroyed. Now, I'm going to put these back where they belong, or I will drive myself crazy after this painting is done. 291, 292. So the 291 is on the left. So I got it. We're good. I keep them in their positions, and then I have a color chart so I know what colors, because you can't tell these. I know I've said this several times if you listen to a lot of my videos, but you cannot tell these pens from the caps. They're not, half of them, most of them aren't even close. So I always make a color chart. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. Now, what I can do later is touch up this with a little bit of white paint pen. Okay? So I can save it that way. So I'm going to get these little bars in there. I don't know what it is about these. They're very, very graphic, and I think that's why I like them. It pumps this. It pumps a regular, kind of like I would call it ordinary piece, over into a much more graphic piece. I think what it does when I put these in is it picks up more of the linear work, the lines, the outlines, etc. Because this isn't particularly painterly here. We're just laying some color and some backgrounds is all we're doing. You know, the watercolor is the base for actually the final design. It would be like putting in your background of a landscape with pastels and then doing your details with colored pencils, you know, which is what I used to do with a lot of my colored pencil work, because I used to do my drawings at 22 by 30. And let me tell you, that's an awful big background to cover with colored pencil. So I would actually color, I'm going to widen this up to meet that width of the line. I widened it a little bit too much, but interesting thing about these paints that I used yesterday is that they're a little chalky, because my pens don't normally do this. And you can't see what's going on, but the ink is skipping. Okay, I don't know if you could see that very well, but it skipped a little. So it's not the heavy coverage I would like to actually have. Where are you? There you are. But I'm going to continue on. Just a little bit more curve in it as we go down. Hi, baby. That's my Bailey coming in. My kitty. Always having a drink of water. I got him one of those new, they call it a fountain. It is not a fountain. It's a water dispenser, I think I'd rather call it. But I like it because it has a reservoir for fresh water, and it has a reservoir for used water. And every 2, 3, wait, is it 2, 4, and 6 hours are your choices. Every 2, 4, and 6 hours, it dumps the water that's in the drinking cup into the dirty water and gives him completely fresh water. And if you've got a kitty, you know they're kind of fussy about their water. They love the fountains because it's sort of aerated, but the problem is I don't like those things because those are just simple, I don't care what they say. Those are basically just charcoal filters, and they tell you you can use them for a week without, and you've got clean, fresh water, and you don't. And so I've tried all sorts of them. Started with the plastic, of course, like everybody else, and then went to the stainless steel and blah, blah, blah. And some of those have 2 filters in them, like charcoal and some other kind of one like they use on a Brita filter, that whatever that is. But none of them, I'm sorry, just the water within 3 or 4 days, that water was slimy. The edges, the insides of the container was slimy. It basically just takes the same water, feeds it through the filters, and it keeps feeding the cat the same water. And so when I saw these, and I realized that was fresh water that they were getting, I was kind of happy. And Bailey likes it too. Okay, so we've got that in, and that's going to help me. Oh yeah, that helps a lot. That really does help a lot. And while I'm at it, I'm going to double down on this line here a little bit thicker. There. And while I'm at it here, I might as well do this one. I'm going to complain about this paint again. I don't like it. I won't be using it again. But when that happens, I take those things and I give them to my neighbor if they need some or want some, or I'll take them and donate them to the schools. Yes, those are oyster crackers. I love the stupid things. And they're good to keep my stomach from growling. I don't want to eat yet. All right, now, a little tip. You'll see me moving my paper around. I do it a lot. Number one, I do it for a drawing angle. The other reason I do it is to get a different perspective on the, ooh, I really like this angle. Let's see if you can see it. I can't tell if you're seeing me upside down or what. This is why Terry doesn't buy a trailer, because backing those things up is just, no. I kind of like that. I have to tell you that the colors on my tablet over here look very bright in comparison to what the actual artwork looks like. I'm almost tempted, but what I don't think is I don't want stripes. I could do polka dots in here. Now that would be interesting. But the thing is, do I want to do the whole thing as polka dots, or do I want to break this down into a smaller section? Okay, we're going to find out real quick. I don't know if anybody took the time to go Google neurographic art after yesterday. But I'm just curious what you thought if you did. All right, I might as well just get this done. Oh, this blue is being stubborn. By the way, you can pinch your screen, I think. I'm trying to. And I think you can zoom in to see this closer. I'm not getting mine, is not doing it. But I hope you can. I would love to have some video recording equipment with the light, you know, but I'd like it to be able to, I'd like it to be on a, not have to move it by hand. These things, you have to move anything by hand, they wiggle and shake like a maniac, but I'd like to have it be able to come in down and do a close-up. In the meantime, I have to do this so that you can see up close. Okay. But I'd like you to be able to see the drawing while I'm doing it that close. But, okay. Let's get that finished. Well, at least we got that taken care of. And then the only one left is this one. Oh. I could stop that right now in its tracks. You see, what's happening is with the paint down there, it's very chalky paint, and it's not taking the pen. And I think what's actually happening is little tiny particles of the paint, like dust, are getting into the roller of the pen and jamming it slightly. And I could have stopped that by spraying this whole thing with a fixative. Okay? They have something called workable fixative, and it would protect all the work underneath of it and then create a surface with some tooth on it, but without the negative aspect of the whatever is popping off of this paint. Now, I'm going to have to fix this because there is red that went over There we go. That's a little better. And do I want to do, I do. I don't want to do dots. I will do black dots somewhere else. I want to do this in the stripe as well, but going the other direction. That creates a tension, okay? And I like that. It creates this natural tension that gives a piece energy. Now, you may have discovered by now, I'm not going to be one of those peaceful landscape artists. I rarely do landscapes. I do them occasionally. I mean, every once in a while. In fact, I've kind of been wanting to do some skies. I love doing skies. And I love them, our mesas out here, our flat top mountains. So I will do a landscape of the mesas. I lived in Sedona for a while, and when the sun sets and it hits those red rocks, oh, the colors are incredible. You get these rich burgundy reds and purples, and it's just amazing. This did not land happily for me right here, but I will make it work. Okay. No, I like that. Now, we're not going to do too much, okay? But if we get this finished in a good time factor, I don't know what I'm saying, a good amount of time, we have some time left, I'm going to go in and finish this one too. I'm going to put the accents in this piece because it needs some. I truly love this colors palette in this. I was really happy with that one. I'm not unhappy with this one considering how much trouble I had with it yesterday. It's turning out okay. I don't know why this, I'm looking at exactly what you're looking at, obviously, but this is me right back here, okay? And when I look at the view on the tablet, it turns my head around. That's not sitting well with me. I guess I expect it to be backwards like a mirror. Now, you definitely need something. And that was kind of sloppy. But I may have to leave it alone because it got a little tight in here. But definitely you need something. But it's not going to be blue. Now, if I use the paint pens, and if I get the right one, it can be opaque, so I can put, I don't really want an orange on that. I don't want fuchsia, that's too close. I don't want yellow. Well, this is interesting. I know what I do want, though. And while I'm at it, I was thinking about this all day yesterday. I am prepping my white brush. I wish I didn't have to do this. But the ones that you don't have to do this to, they're much more transparent. I'm going to show you. Here's the white. And this you don't have to mess with. It flows like a felt tip marker. But let me show you on this. I don't know if you can see it. Here's some drips from the pen. But notice how, okay, it doesn't really cover. Now I can keep putting white on it, and layer after layer after layer. But it is still, it's transparent. It is acrylic, but there's not a lot of pigment in these. That's why they can flow down like that. Okay? Now these, however, tend to be much more opaque. Okay, so I'm going to go over, well, let's go over this one. Okay. I'm dotting it because it's not smooth, so it's just easier to dot the paint on there. All right, so this is more opaque, you know. So that's why I'm not using any of these right now. I love those, so I just love to draw with them. But I wanted some white, little white dots. Ever since I put this on there, I was thinking about it yesterday. Usually I forget. If I go, oh, I'd like to do that. Well, by the time I get to it, if I have to come back in another day, I've forgotten completely and I do something else. I mean, it's not like there isn't 5 billion different approaches and different ways you can paint anything. You know, I mean, any color could have been changed here, any shape, the original design. But I just kept thinking about these little dots and how much I really like that idea with this little guy. And it's not completely white. Now, I can go back over it and make it completely white, but I don't particularly want to. Okay. That gives you a little bit more texture. Right. I think this would be nice on the side of a purse. You know, a lot of these things can be blown up and worked over and turned into fabric. You'd be surprised what basic designs you can do with them. You know, abstract designs. Everybody, you know, look around you and look at fabrics and stuff and see how many of them are non-representational. Polka dots, period. Polka dots are non-representational. They're polka dots. I still need to do this. Actually, you know what would work here? Red. Red would be really nice here. But I am going to have to use a paint pen because even though I've got some beautiful felt tip pens over here, they're too transparent, and against the blue they're going to change. So there's my red. And that, actually that's a little pink. I think I'm going to go one more over. Here it is. Okay. That's why I picked these. Okay. Now this one is pretty close, okay? But most of the time they're not. That next one, here's the pen for that. Now, does that look? You know, it does. Well, to me, I see a difference. You may not, but I definitely see this as lighter and a little bit more. It's got a little bit more orange yellow in it. Okay, this is what I want. And again, watch these paint pens. These, I will tell you what my brands are that I have settled on. Artistro. I've got a couple sets of the Artistro. What is this one? I keep forgetting. Zayar. They're good too. They flow really well. They have a little fatter point. They're not quite as fine point as the Artistro. So these are my pens of choice. But Zayar has even though it's supposed to be roughly the same color, the colors they're different. So they have, let's say, 5 blues from a kind of an aqua to a turquoise regular blue. Okay, and those are literally different than the blues in Artistro. And because these don't mix well. You can mix them, but it's not easy. And I do it with texture, like little dots. In fact, I should do some of those here. Do I want, or do I don't really want dots, not that close to there. I kind of, oh, no, I was thinking little circles, but I want something simple in here. I don't want to get too fancy in the patterns. But I also don't want to do a weight mail. You know, a wavy line might be okay. I could do it over. Yes, I got it. Oops. Okay. Gotta use a light hand because this is not the finest point. I'll touch those up. These are going to have to be drawn over. So I'm going to do that very carefully. Now let's get this thing moving here. That will help. That's better. The nice thing about having the tape on the edge here, because if you're new, you didn't know, I have a tape, a white tape. I have a 1/4 inch tape all the way around here, so I'm going to pull that up. This is going to have a border on it, and I like that. And the nice thing about it is when you start lines, and especially in watercolor, when you do a line, when you put the when you put the brush down or lift the brush up, a little blop of water always comes off. So what happens is you get a little bloop, a little bulb of whatever. Like, I don't want to do it on here, but you get a line, and then you get a little, okay, when you pick it up, put it down in painting, especially in watercolor. There are ways to avoid that in how you handle the brush, but it's nice if you can set it up so that you start the line where it isn't going to show and end the line where it isn't going to show, and then you won't have that problem. But you can't always do that. But if I'm doing something and I might have that problem, I will grab one of my liner brushes. Now, liner brushes are basically for sign painters and for lines, okay? But they're very long bristles, and because they carry a lot of paint, a lot of medium in them, so that if you start a line and it's long, and let me tell you, you want to be able to do that line all the way through to the end, because it's not fun to stop and start, okay? And really good sign painters can do that, but it's not fun for them either. Now, I'm going to put just a regular line in here and balance it out, and that's enough. Now, this needs something. You know what I'm tempted to do? All right, well, let me put this on here. And I'm going to use a purple for this. I know exactly what I want. Now, which one? I want one of the lighter ones. Like, okay, this one is not going to work because that's the transparent one. Oh, excuse me. So, that one, and then I have this one in the Zayers. But I like this one more. This one's a little grayed down and a little darker. These have some great colors, but these are semi-transparent, and they won't cover the orange. In fact, it's almost an opposite color, so it will probably, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not the right color. Did I mix those up? Let me look at this. Sometimes I have to double check. I don't think that is the right color. These got a little, Let me see what I've got here. Well, that is. See, this is why you can't count on these. Look how dark that pen is. And look in comparison to this. See? That's why you do color charts. In fact, I'm going to... Oh, I can't shoot. But this one is the one I want. Right there. Okay. So let's practice. Now, this coming out here, the little dark, it's not the color of the pen in the end. If I keep drawing with that, it'll start dark, and then as the opaque white comes out of the paint, it'll lighten up. So I want to start with the proper color first. And now I've got it. Okay? There goes my air conditioner. Don't you love it? Arizona, end of February, and it's 83, and my air conditioner came on. February. How many of you guys are still in snow? I do like that. It's not very noticeable, but that's all right. Okay. Now, I gotta sit back for a second. My back's hurting, and I have to drop my chair down. Give me a second here. I'm gonna take everybody for a little ride as I pull my table back. You probably didn't notice it, but I did. Now, I'm going to touch that up because every time I look at it, it bugs me. I didn't put my white back. Shame on me. Okay. That was on that paper from the get-go. In the end, excuse me, in the end you will never see it. But it just cleans the line up a little bit. Okay, while I've got it out, I usually like to have some white. And this didn't turn out quite white. It's not what I want anyway. I have this urge to actually, although if I do that, I'm going to have to go over this 3 times, because even this isn't opaque enough to go over this blue. I have this urge to put a square in here, or a couple, 2 or 3 of them. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know why. I don't know why. Now, yes, I can draw it, but why bother? Okay, I love these. I've used these since drafting. Yes, I took drafting classes, and I will tell you why. I never wanted to do drafting for a living. No, 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 no. But you learn some excellent techniques and skills in drafting classes. Yep, I do want to do this. And I think they're going to line their little selves up. Where do I want them? Here or here? I don't want 4 of them. That's too many. They're too far apart. But the 3 of them, that one's too small. You know what? No, that's too much. I think they need to go here. Now let me line up what I'm looking at here. Okay. And these have little tiny feet on the other side. So this template is not actually just the little feet are touching the artwork, so that it doesn't bleed underneath. Oh, I can let go of that. My God, it's not that critical. It's not like anybody's making a building or a plane, according to this. All right. So, it was weird. Yeah, I like that. I'm glad I decided to do that. I like that there. And I'm just going to fill it in very gently with little dots. Oops, I did a little. Be careful. It's not completely square yet, but it's good enough. It dipped in a little and it bothered me. I'm less bothered by the fact it's not a real square anymore than I was by the little crooked line down there. This is the fun part for me. Is doing the little accents. As you know, it just, I should have picked up one of my rocks. I do these little weird faces and I love them. And I can't show you right now because all my stuff is being used and I don't have one sitting here. But I do these weird little, they're sort of like little Picasso faces that I've kind of cartoonized. And every one of them when I do, I don't ever do a sketch, okay, for these things. That sort of takes the surprise out of it for me. Because I never know what I'm going to end up with, and I love that, okay? At the end of the day, ooh, this is interesting. I have never seen these paints go through this paper. That's the blue. Well, now that's interesting. Uh-oh, that blue went under. I'm going to have a messed up border. Because I can see that it went under the border. Very odd. Oh, that was the alcohol. The alcohol pushed it through. That's what it was. Okay, so I'll remember that next time on this paper. Now my 300 pound, it would have been pure white, still on the back. Okay, that stuff's like cardboard, only it's cotton. All right, I am pretty happy with this, but I want to do something. Okay, I know what I want to do. I want to shade those. And by that, and this is what I mean when I told you, I create shade with lines and dots. Uh, hey, you know what? I can use these because I'm going to go darker. Let go. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. I want the third one for that one. No, wait. Maybe. Do I want a little darker here? If I do, that means I may have to go. What have I got over here? Interesting, I don't have a, wait a minute. There he is. There's my red orange, he's in the Zayers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This tells me that 4 is empty. Uh-oh, oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5. Oh, no, wrong, picked up the wrong one. Whoops, oops. Come here. Oh, not having a day, aren't I? You know, how can this be that dark? Let me check this. I have had problems with this. I don't know if you can see all the little marks. I keep having problems with these pens. Yeah, that's it. It's that dark. Okay, see? You cannot trust these colors. Okay, so I like this one. I'm going to put this one on here. Now, these have a brush tip and a fine point. Isn't that nice? And I want the fine point. And this is, I love to put little dots in. This is how I will shade my rocks that I paint. And do graduated tones. Because it's easier to do this. It may take a little longer, but trying to blend these things is just a total pain. And you just don't get a nice smooth grade of color. Whereas this, you're not getting a grade at all. But the interesting thing is how the eye and the brain interpret this. And if you look back, and you certainly are, let me see if I can see how you're seeing it. Okay, that might be a little far away, and bring it up a little closer. I don't know if you can see it. But you see how it starts to look like it's getting darker in that corner? Until you bring it up close enough to see the dots. But even there, see that? And if I use a darker pen, even more up in this area here at the point, and then as you go out, you just do further away, less dots, okay? This is border here, okay? But I'm going to put one little dot in there, and then I'll hope to cover it up. This one actually has pretty good, this one actually has pretty good level of opacity. So I'm pretty happy with that. And then this one here, here or there? Oh, here. There's no real light. You can actually put give me a second, my brain went dead. A light source. Thank you very much. You can actually create a light source in an abstract, okay? If you've got a light source, or more than one, and you can have more than one, in fact, most natural places have more than one light source. Well, every light creates, and it has a direction. So as this light, you can see the shadows, okay? And these are the things you have to pay attention to, because if you have one light source, one very strong light source, and most people, it's easier to draw something that way. It gets pretty complicated when you start adding 2, 3, 4 light sources, okay? But You can't, if you're creating a piece, even an abstract piece, you kind of have to consider the non-existent light source. And if something bugs you about something that you did, it could very well be the non-existent light source is wrong. I know that sounds funny, but it's something that I've discovered in doing as many. Oh, wow. Well, that happened. These do that occasionally. I don't know if you saw that from way up there, but my pen just blooped. Now, we're going to go in and suck up as much of that as we can. Okay. I'm going to go one more time here. Be careful getting that on your hands. Like here, I could very easily have put that down. Now, let me get this as much up as I can. All right, I'm going to have to fix that. Okay. Now, I can do that one of two ways. And I think I'm going to do it with a paint pen. And the reason why is, again, more opaque. I could go in with the color, but then I'd have to match it. And see, that's not a great match. I know which one is, and it's the one that I'm out. It's, where is it? It's this one. Yeah, see that? That's the perfect match. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try. There may be just enough in this little guy to get me through that. There may be. Keep your fingers crossed. Okay? I'm really going to work this pen to get anything out of here, because this really is. Oh, come on, baby. You can do it. Now watch. I'm going to dot. Oh, I think I can make it. I think I can do it. There. We're just going to have to create less of an organized dot pattern here. But it did it. Okay. Save the day. Had just enough in there. Just enough. Now, as it goes on, I'll get it up there so you can see it. If you can. It's still drying. Maybe you can see it now. But it appears to be lighter than this. The thing is once it dries, it won't be. Acrylics dry darker. Watercolors dry, well, they don't really dry lighter. What they do is they dry matte. And as they dry and they get more matte, they reflect less of the light. There's no water to reflect the light. And that tends to cut the saturation a little bit and lightens them up just a little bit. Have you ever seen a rock that's been cut open and it looks very, very dull until they put it underwater, and then it just, well, water does that, it reflects light, so it brings light, okay, and it makes a difference. And now I've had this one sitting out. Oh, good, okay. I would kill to be able to find this. These paint pen people, not these, I think Posca does, okay, Posca, but I don't like Posca paint pens. They sell the individual colors, like Prismacolor colored pencils. What are those markers? My brain just went completely dead. There's a professional level marker out. Oh, he's going to do it again. And I caught it. Whoa. I think I'm going to have to change the tip on this. Let me quickly, I'm going to do this way, just in case. Because if it drips, it's not going to drip down there again. I'm just gonna, there. This is not quite as neat as I would like it, but I'm not taking any chances. Now, you can see that. And hello, I see there's a couple people in here. I don't know who you are, but I see there's two, so hello. I see the number 2, and it's by something that's supposed to be a person icon. So hello and welcome. We are finishing up the neurographic art that we did watercolor. We did watercolor base on it yesterday, and now we're putting in the little accents. We're honestly, I'm pretty close to being done here. I think I'll put these away in a second. Let me think. I do want to touch up these, and that line's going to be heavier here, so I got to pick those up. I don't know about this. There is not another, there's not another, you know, sometimes I have to think. I may have to, you know, sometimes I can't make a decision. I will set it up. Like I might, you know, after I finish here, I may stop for the day because I worked a couple of days. Well, yeah, a couple of days. I worked the whole weekend. And you know, I'm retired. I don't need to work at all. I'm just doing this because I love doing art. But I'm tired, and I overwork myself because that's what I do. And I'm retired, and I treat this like it's a job again. And that's not the whole point. The point is, it's not a job. There isn't somebody yelling at me and telling me to make, I'm sorry, but this is what I heard a lot. I did science fiction illustration, right? And I did women and make her boobs bigger, you know, make them rocket ship shinier, you know, do this, do that. Fine, okay, you know. But I don't have to listen to that crap anymore. I'm retired. That's why I do abstracts, because I love them. They are the purest form of art. They are line, color, form, movement, you know, all the basic elements of what art is what they are. You can create dimensions, okay? You know, they may be illusory or illusions, but cool colors go backwards, they recede. Warm colors come forward, light colors come forward, dark colors go back. All these things and all these little tricks that you play create these elements. And for me, I get to work with form and color, and I don't have to make a plan. And, you know, that's the whole joy of this for me. That's why I love abstracts. I don't just do abstracts. I've done everything. I was a commercial illustrator. I have done cartoons and caricatures and portraits and you name it. Okay? I've drawn screws. I've drawn toilets. I mean, I don't want to think. I always think about those because I really hated drawing toilets and screws. But you know what? You know, when I was starting out, I did a lot of brochures and stuff for a local area, and that's who hired me. That's who paid me. You pay me, you know, I'll draw you up your picture. But I'm also thinking, do I want to go? I don't. I do not. Too much. There's a lot of black on here already. Do I need more white? This is what I'm doing now. I'm looking because I do need something either here or here. Actually, this would be a good place to put something, although I don't want to do anything over here that draws the eye off the page. And believe it or not, you can do that. If I was to put like a little spiral there, you know, a vortex, that would draw the eye right off the page. You don't want to do that. You want to keep the eye focused in a certain area. And you want to be able to, you want the eye to flow around the piece. And that's what it does here. That's what good design does. Okay? But maybe maybe I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to exaggerate this. I'm going to do a little bit more texturizing here, and then I'm going to do it here. But I think I'm going to do it here with lighter colors to pop this. This is very muddy, and I'm not happy with it. So let me put the line in here that I need to put. Now, where did I see him? Right here. I'm gonna hate this. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cheat. I did it originally. Oh, I may not be able to. He's got a slight curve to him. Okay, can't do it. So I'm gonna have to keep that curve. Nice thing about most of these is you've got a break in long lines like this. I am getting older, okay? Nobody likes to admit it, but the fact is. And I don't have as steady a hand as I used to. And so, long, extended, you know, I used to do, once upon a time, my brain, okay. I did a few cars. I did pinstriping and painting cars. And that when I was talking about the liner brushes, that's where I learned to use them, was pinstriping cars. And I was pretty good at it. But I sure as heck wouldn't attempt it now. I definitely would not attempt it now. Oh, this paint. If I ever have to use this stuff again, like if things get really bad and we can't get paint, and I have to use this paint again, I am going to seal it off with a, what's that thing called? I just said it earlier. Fixative. And a fixative is a way to seal a painting, but you can still work on it. Okay? It's archival, etc. You don't have to worry about it. And it's lovely if you work in colored pencil and pastels, because, especially for me, I can't work with a mall stick anymore. That's a big stick that holds your hand up so your hand doesn't scrape across your art. Even when you're working on your art, and you notice I'm kind of lazy about that. But then again, this isn't archival paper either. And these aren't archival paints, so, you know, this may last 100 years, or if you keep it tucked away, you know. If you don't know what archival means, I'll explain it to you someday, not right now. But it means basically, I gotta go in here and do this. It means that the materials used are developed for the longevity of the material and the final work. So acid-free papers, acid-free mount, you know, when they talk about acid-free framing, this is what they're talking about, archival framing, okay? And that means if you take an extremely valuable piece of artwork and you go to frame it, you're not putting any tape or any mat or anything on it or around it to damage the original artwork, okay? Everything that goes on it is archival and will not damage it. Why are you not allowed to touch paintings in museums? Because it's not that your hands are dirty, and they are, but there are oils, natural body oils. You know, I don't care if you just wash your hands. Your body is constantly giving those off. Those are incredibly damaging to artwork, okay? To paper, to paint, you know, to the varnishes, okay? What was the other thing I was thinking about there? Body oils. I did art shows for, I can't, years, decades. And people, you know, and I did originals, okay? Well, I did acrylic originals and watercolors. Now, watercolors, of course, were my originals were always framed, okay? So they were always behind glass. They were behind UV glass, as a matter of fact, ultraviolet protective glass. And yes, I matted archivally, etc., and mounted archivally. But oil paintings and, acrylic paintings on canvases, you don't put those behind glass. And people aren't educated in art anymore. There's no art classes. People don't understand that touching an original piece of artwork can damage it. In 100 years, that little fingerprint that you put on there could be eating through the varnish and the paint. And so when an artist gets upset, there's a reason why, okay? If they see you doing that. Well, number one, we have spent a lot of money if we've made our work archival, okay? And I mean a lot of money. And that stuff isn't cheap. I think, let's see. Honestly, I think I'm done. I know this is bothering me, but right now, I don't have an answer to it. I'm not going to do anything more around the edges, so what do you say we take off this tape and see if I really messed up my border, because I'm really worried about this under here. But we're going to find out. Now, I just took this and folded it under. See if I can get a grip that way. No, you're not going to help me, are you? Well, I got it on there good, didn't I? Okay. That's what this is for. Oh, my tip is gone. All right, that's not going to help me. I have to get this off. Now, okay, now I got it. Little bugger. Okay. And when you take tape off, okay, take it off at a 45. You see what I'm doing here? And watch. Okay. Oh, they're sticking to each other. All right, I don't want to rip the page, so I'm going to do this. Give me a second here. It's sticking to this. Got it. Okay, I won't do that next time. All right. Let's get these all pulled off then. I will just cut them at the edge of the page instead of folding them under, because I created a... That wasn't bad. I hope this all comes off. You can have, depending on the paper and the tape, now I have had pretty good luck with this tape. And so far, looks like I'm going to. And the only other place that it's flopped under is right here. So let me get that out. There we go. Okay. Now, then you want to see which one is on top, and that's this one. And then you pull it at a 45-degree angle. Okay, not bad. A little here. Let's get this one, it's next. Ooh, how are we doing? I was afraid of that, but I'll touch it up. That's okay. See, that was the alcohol. It seeped literally through the paper. Not under, but through the paper itself. It just absorbed in. Okay. I love this part. This is like unwrapping a present for me. Okay? To see if these things worked. If they didn't, there's always the option of painting the border. Okay? And covering up any ickies like that. But because that's such a small area, I'm going to try, and I could also put a black, but I'd have to I'd have to put a pretty thick, boy, I can't say that, border on here to cover that up, at least 1/8 of an inch. And I could And it wouldn't bother me because this is such... I've got the hiccups again, sorry. Don't you love listening to me? It wouldn't bother me because this is graphic. I do like this clean. It's actually a pretty doggone good edge, except for that. So I will think about that. But essentially, we are done. And I have yet to sign these, but I should. Normally, I would sign just in the border. That would be great. But we're done. We have a finished piece here. Close enough. But I want to think about this, and I want to consider this border. Oh, that is one thing I did want to do. I'm not quite done yet. I do want to, and this is where I'm going to bring my markers in. I'm actually going to get a dark purple for that. And then I've got this. Let me take a look at that. Now this one has a very fine edge. Look at that. Oh, look at that. That's even better. This is barely noticeable. Let me see if I like that. You know, I kind of like the idea of getting it closer to this, more closer to it, and so that it looks like this is kind of dropping down. I'm not saying that right, but if I do this and keep it lighter on the out this way, okay, that's enough of that color. I'm going to do that. Look at that. Can you see that? Do you see how that looks like it's starting to sink in a little? I like that. I don't know if you can see it, but it gives the illusion of this sinking down, which gives us another little level of depth. I might even do that here for this one, and here, right around here, so that this looks like it's dropping. Oh, I like that, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to continue this tiny itty bitty, and I'm going to leave the thing on the video until I finish, but for all intents and purposes we are done. But if you want to watch till the end and see how the effect turns out, feel free. Okay, I like this purple in going into the blue because this was supposed to be more purple anyway. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring it in a little bit into the black, and I'm going to make that black even darker. I know it sounds funny, but do you see how this is even making the black darker? You can't. Down. I just wish that I could get a really good close-up. I shouldn't do that with the purple, but you can't tell the difference. I don't know if you can even see it here because I think you don't have, I don't think they've got like a macro. Okay. But even the black got darker when I went over it. Okay. Which is kind of cool. I like that. It's kind of like cutting, the hard edge is going away. I like that. Ooh, that was kind of an, okay, I'm going to say it again. Here it comes. That was kind of a little happy accident. I'm sorry. I'm going to sing it every freaking time I think of it. Okay? I grew up with Bob Ross on TV.